What is up, people of the internet? How you guys doing tonight? Everybody's talking about Vince Friese and Christian Craig and their get together this weekend. Christian Craig got punted pretty far away from his bike. He had to jog back. It was, and then all right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But make no mistake, I'm not a fan really of either of these guys. Certainly not Vince Friese, because he rides like a dick. He really does. He's an ass. He's just an absolute ass, and he works for an ass. Michael Alessi's an ass. Both of his kids were asses. Vince Friese is like the third kid that Tony Alessi. Vince Friese is like Tony Alessi's third kid that he never had. And he's just as much of an ass as Mike and Mike's little brother. Look, all that said, of all the takeouts I've seen Vince Friese do over the years, I don't know, last 6-7 years, this actually wasn't one of his gnarliest, like malicious looking takeout. I'm sure, Vince Friese and Christian Craig got a little bit of history, but it just looked like two dudes. Like if you were to just look at the riders, not knowing who they were, it looked like two dudes pinned, aiming for the same real estate, and neither one of them was going to back down. Christian Craig got there first. He got there first. He was on the outside, but he got there first because Friese's front tire hit kind of like the middle of Christian's bike, like maybe his foot peg, maybe right behind the foot peg where the swing arm pivot is. It just looked like, Vince Friese is like, fuck it. I'm going to pin it all the way to the crash. It is what it is, and I don't even like Vinny's line. There's footage of him taking the same line after the crash, after he gets back up and takes off, which, by the way, when he leaves, he roosts the shit out of Christian Craig. And sand roost sucks. It's almost one of the worst kinds of roost. But there's footage of Vinny. I'll just call him Vinny from now on. He's like an Italian mafia member. There's footage of Vinny taking the same stupid line. I say stupid line because if you look at Christian Craig's line, he's entering the turn where the turn actually begins. And Vinny, to me, he's looked like he's taking kind of a defensive posture, right? He's missing the beginning of the turn, which makes for a slower pivot because he's got a much sharper pivot now when he hits the sand. And it's just going to be slower. It's just there's two ways about it. It's going to be a slower line, which, kind of makes sense because he's a slower rider. He relies on good starts and then punting people off the track if they try and pass him. That's his strategy. Like, let me get the whole shot, which he does almost all the time. And then if you try and pass me, I'm going to run you off the track. And that kind of brings me to what I want to talk about in this video. And that is the way the AMA deals with this aggressive rough riding, whatever you want to call it. I think fines are dumb because it's really, really hard. Because the thing is this dirty rough riding, especially, it's more prominent with the lights, not the lights guys. I mean, some of the lights guys, because they're just young kids. But what I meant to say was privateers, like the real privateers, the guys that are racing the LCQ, just trying to get into the main, into the night show. Those guys, if you can't like just come up with a fine hierarchy structure for rough riding because, let's just say you make it $1,000. $1,000 to a guy like Eli Tomac or any of these, Cooper Webb, any of the top tier dudes in the 450 class, for example, it's not going to mean a damn thing. That's like pennies to those guys. So some of them are a millionaire multiple times over, okay? They've won multiple championships in both 250s and 450s. Those guys, they're well off unless they didn't take care of their funds. They should hire a fiduciary. Sorry, I hate that fucking commercial. It drives me nuts. Okay. Anyway, back to the point. I don't think fines work because if $1,000 is pennies to those guys, but to a struggling privateer who's just trying to figure out how to pay for his way to the next race, $1,000 could end his season. I mean, and then, if you try to come up with a fine that is, something that would hurt one of these millionaire riders, well, that's going to like put a privateer into bankruptcy. I mean, so fines don't really work. Fines are a joke. Fines are a joke. Probation's a joke. Here's what I think the AMA should do. 1 race suspension. That's huge, man. Missing out on, 19, 20 points or whatever towards championship, That's huge. Those guys would think twice about it. However, my point is that would be something these guys would seriously react to. Like even Vinny, who knows he's got no shot at a championship. I mean, let's get real. Come on. But missing a race is still a big deal. Missing a race is a big deal to the privateers. I mean, this is everything that, they're breathing for every day, is to get to the next race and hopefully make a night show and so on and so forth. So I think a one race suspension would bring maybe not 100% end to this rough riding, aggressive riding, whatever you want to call it. But my big thing is I don't want to see this sport turn into a fucking circus, right? I don't want Supercross to become this WWF, WWE, whatever the hell they're called now, drama show where people are just showing up to see who's going to take out who. I mean, that's bullshit. I want to see the competition. I want to see these highly trained athletes fighting, and I hate to say aggressive riding because you can ride aggressively without putting people in the dirt, man. Let's just call it what it is. It's dirty riding. It's dirty. So I want to see aggressive riding. I want to see these guys putting it all on the line, but clean and respectful. Till the next video, keep the rubber side down. We'll see you guys. Bye.